Josh, it seemed like the Bulls put a lot of focus on two-way guys that can not only shoot the ball, but can also play defense. And
well,
the defense, I think, is what really like you guys the Bulls could put points up. That wasn't the issue for them. It was the other end of the court that crushed them, especially late in games too. Like the final six minutes of the fourth, they just.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what did them in a lot.
Here's the thing. So the Chicago Bulls, that was probably their biggest weakness, defense. But the thing was, the Bulls finished 12th defensively. That's better than half the league.
More than half.
The fact that they still finished 12th and they got better defensively with adding Lonzo Ball, adding Alex Caruso, getting Derrick Jones Jr., that's going to make us a better defensive team. And also Zach Lavine. This is a guy who's been getting better defensively every single year. And during that media day, he was interviewed and he was asked, what are some of the things that you're looking to work on for this upcoming season? Two things he's really focused on. We already know because he's a great scorer. He can score from anywhere. He's deadly from the three. He's a slasher. Yeah. He's great athletic, ability. But the two things he really wants to work on: his leadership, which is very important to be a superstar in this league and to lead a team to victory. The other thing is to be an elite defender, and he really showed that during the Olympics, being coached under Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich. He had all these guys on the Olympic team that could score offense. That's something that Zach Lavine could do too. He had Kevin Durant. He had Damian Lillard. He had all these guys who could score. And he told Zach Lavine, if you're going to get real minutes with me, you're going to have to be that defensive player. We need guys who can play two ways. And that's what Zach Lavine did. He focused a lot on that, and he became a much better defensive player just during this summer playing under Greg Popovich. And he's going to carry this over into the season, and he's looking to be an elite defender. We know he could be already a decent defender. If he could take that next step defensively and be a two-way superstar, that his defense with Lonzo Ball, who's going to be the anchor of the defense, especially on the perimeter, and Patrick Williams, man, the Chicago Bulls, they could be a top 10 defense. And in a conference where having a great defense isn't exactly necessary, because you saw all these teams go deep last year who didn't have a very good defense. The Brooklyn Nets, the Atlanta Hawks. If the Bulls could have a top 10 defense to go with their scoring ability,
it would match up well.
Absolutely.
Against the Hawks, too. They would match up very well against the Hawks.
Don't sleep on the Chicago Bulls. I see some rankings from some of these media outlets that think that the Bulls are going to be a 7th seed, maybe looking at the play-in. I don't think so. I think we're a 5th seed, maybe a 4th seed.
Maybe add to that banner. No, I'm just kidding. No.
No. So I was going to say, I think one of the best moves you guys made was the Nikola Vucevic move. That was huge because one, that you put that guy on the block and just say, this is where you go, bud. You're sitting on the block. You're going to run this offense for, this is your spot. You get down low and you just be that, because pushing him off the block is extremely tough to do. And he's a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams because he can shoot well and he's big and tough to move around.
It's a finesse guy under. Yeah, he's very finesse,
and he stretches the court too. Because you
shoot 40% from three.
He's very the court vision too is very. He's a very good passer as well. So if he's going to have to draw double down low because he's so big and such a presence down there. That's going to leave someone open, and I guarantee he'll be able to his passing ability is really good too.
Oh, absolutely. To Nikola Vucevic, he was interviewed, obviously, on that first media day. And, he was asked about his optimism for this upcoming season. And he was saying that last year when they traded for him and he came in, like I said, they had one practice from the time they acquired him towards the end of the season. And he felt even with that situation, which is very hard to do and deal with, he said by the time the season came to an end, they were starting to really gel. He was starting to find himself here in Chicago and the system under Billy Donovan, but it was a little bit too late. Now we're going into this new season, and he's got, a great facilitator in Lonzo Ball. He's got DeMar DeRozan, who can attack that mid-range game. This is going to be an incredible chemistry of this starting five, and they complement each other so well.
They do.
Vucevic, DeRozan, Zach Lavine, Lonzo Ball, who's been getting better as a shooter, especially from the three.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's always going to be open on this offense.
I love that. And it's
Always.
so true. Going back to what you said about Zach Lavine really quick, what's interesting is he's kind of doing the Kobe arc with the defense and stuff like that, like taking on the challenge. And the great thing about it is we don't even need him to score that much. We really don't with all the people we have.
No, yeah. I mean, he doesn't need to be dependent on being an on-the-ball scorer. He has shown in the past that he could be good off the ball. And now that he has a great facilitator in Lonzo Ball, he has someone in DeMar DeRozan who has learned to be a good playmaker, especially during his time in San Antonio. Well, Lonzo Ball, he's got guys who will complement him and be able to facilitate towards him off the ball. So he doesn't need to be, so ball dependent. He could be off the ball dependent and take whatever the defense gives him. And like I said, someone's always going to be open.
And that'll take stress off of him too. So that's huge.
Big time.
It'll make him way more comfortable too.
Absolutely.
One of the things that, like, to compare, like, the Bulls last year, the bench was the depth was a problem, and I think you guys fixed that in you fixed that in the offseason, and you also fixed, some of your defensive, liabilities. I kind of relate like that, like the Celtics had a lot of talent in the starting five, but they had no bench. And what would happen? They had no bench help outside of the starting five, and it killed them in the games, because as soon as there was no help outside of the starting five.
Right.
The depth moves that you guys made that the Bulls made this offseason cannot be the bench, the help.
Oh yeah.
You're not just going to be you're not going to live and die on the starting five.
Well,
you actually have pieces on the bench that will contribute to the team.
Once we're fully healthy, like once Patrick Williams comes back and Kobe White comes back, we're going to have a solid rotation. Coming off the bench, you're going to have Kobe White. You're going to have Alex Caruso. You're going to have Tony Bradley, Derrick Jones Jr., Ayo Dosunmu, who you could also put in there. It's going to be a really good rotation.
Young, hungry, athletic players who are wanting to get that next contract. That's what we filled the roster with, and I absolutely love it. The only veterans are really just Vucevic and DeRozan, really. Isn't that right? Or I guess Lavine, but Lavine's really in his prime. He's a young, in his prime star, so I don't consider him like an old veteran or anything like that. But Lavine, I guess my next question is: would you give Lavine the Supermax now, or would you want to wait for like the James Harden summer next year?
I think it's going to come during the offseason.
Next offseason.
Yeah, and you give him the Supermax.
Even if Harden's available,
he's going to show why he's going to be worth that money. And I absolutely believe that we're going to extend him. I don't think we would have gotten Lonzo Ball if that wasn't going to be the case, because those two plan on playing with each other for many years to come. They've been talking about this. They've been planning this. That's why the Chicago Bulls are under investigation right now. I don't know. Some people probably forgot about that or don't even know about that at all.
I didn't know that. Actually, I never knew about that.
Yeah, we are under investigation right now for tampering, and it's been going on for quite some time.
I did see multiple teams where
they still haven't concluded that investigation.
What's that?
They still haven't concluded the investigation?
No, it was believed that it was going to be concluded before training camp started, but it's still going on. Hopefully that's a good sign that they're having difficulties finding legitimate evidence for tampering, because if they do find us guilty of that, we will lose our first-round pick. But
wow.
Yeah. So right
That's
now we're
bogus.
going to be investigated by that. Also the New Orleans Pelicans as well, because this has been in the works for quite some time. Zach Lavine is a superstar. I mean, and I think if he can be, second team all defense this year, he can make that on top of what he can do offensively and be that leader. He's a superstar and he's going to get that money and he deserves it.
So
Hope he does.